We're here with Simon Tucker, the CEO of Dental Sky. She's been very kind enough to give me the tour, the grand tour of the place. So everybody that's not ordering from Dental Sky, or even people that are ordering from Dental Sky, what's the elevator pitch?
We're a small business supplying small businesses. Dental practices, basically, in my view, I've been around 37 years, are still fundamentally small businesses with all the issues that small businesses have, the struggles. We're also a small business, and I think that gives us direct connection. So we sell everything all the big guys do. I think we just do it in a more personal and intimate way, and we understand the difficulties of running a small business, and we try and meet those needs as possible, as best possible.
Best as possible.
Yeah, so it's a connection of a small business to a small business, trying to make everything work. Simply. So and make it a personal connection, like inviting people in here. So
indeed,
everybody's welcome. So.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome.
That's right.
Come and feel part of the team. Meet the family.
Meet the family.
And it is a family-owned business. My parent company is a family-owned business in France. I own 10% of this business. I've got another UK business partner. So it really is a family business. So. It's individual.
And when you took it over, how many people were there? Because you've got 30 now.
Yeah, there were 24 when I took over 2 years ago.
Okay.
It had been in existence for 18 years. It had sort of grown and then flatlined.
Yes.
It just needed a bit of a shake-up and giving people here an opportunity to be creative and getting us known. Because if you'd asked, 2 years ago, if you'd asked 100 dentists who we were, possibly only 5 or 6% would have known. I'm hoping that's now 15 or 18% know who we are, and we're a bit more on the radar. So, I say because we do everything the big guys do. It's just we don't have reps in the field, so it takes us a bit longer to get to know people. So.
And would you say that is the fundamental strength of Dental Sky is having that one-to-one relationship with your clients and also getting to know them?
I believe
and
so.
being the independent practice.
I believe so, yeah. As I said, dentistry is a very personal and intimate business because the relationship between the dentist and the patient is actually very stressful, very intimate because they're going to touch every patient. And that gives the business quite a different dynamic. So I'm trying to create here at Dental Sky is that similar personal relationship between the team here and the customer. So it takes time, but if you listen to some of the team on the phone now, some of the conversations you wouldn't believe are business conversations, but that's great because they're talking not just about product but about their personal lives, their social lives, their issues, and so that relationship. And what I love now when we go to exhibitions is customers who've never met the person at the end of the phone are now meeting them as they come out and say, oh, that's what you look like. You know? Although all the pictures are on the website, there's nothing like that personal connection. So we're very slowly just trying to make that connection stronger between individuals. So. Because it is a personal business. So.
It is,
if you've got a connection with a person in the shop, I'll pay more for something now. Just because it's a nicer experience. Now, it's not just about can I charge more because we have a better personal connection. I just know that business is more fun and more interesting, and quite frankly, my customers are buying the same products from me as they are from my competitors. So how can I make that different? Well, obviously price is one of them, and that's always important. But there's got to be something else in that, and there is, and there's that personal relationship. So is the person at the end of the phone helpful? Are they friendly? Do they remember me? Do they remember my name? You know, it's just common sense really. But if you can make that personal connection, I just think it makes buying something just that little bit more fun. Because let's be honest, ordering dental materials is not the most exciting thing in the world.
True.
If you can make it a bit of fun at the same time, then hopefully it means people come back on a regular basis. So. But then we've got to do all the other stuff, deliver it on time. I said make sure the price is competitive. That's all important too.
So now we just discussed that. I think you've already given it to me really, but if you could sum up your core values. What are they?
It's interesting. I physically make people work on their core values.
Okay.
One of the other things I do outside of Dental Sky is work on dental practices and other businesses to get them to look at how they can improve their business. And the first exercise I start with, and I've got a sheet here you can take away, is a core values exercise.
Okay.
So there's 30 words on that sheet, and I get people to select 5 only.
Okay.
And they all moan about that.
Yes.
And then they select the word that are their core values, but then they have to define them. So mine are, I have to reel them off, are listening.
Yes.
Ask my wife how good I am at that. Integrity, respect, responsibility and trust. Those are my personal values that I use for my business and for me as my way through life. So just take listening. Under that, my definition is, look, I promise to listen to everybody else. I promise to listen to myself. And for my wife, I promise to listen twice as much as I speak. Because far too often we're driving along, she'll say, what did I just say? And I no idea, because I wasn't listening. But that's marriage. I've been married 35 years this year. But so listening is something I know I struggle with. I'm a salesman, I want to talk, as you can tell by this. But listening is so important. And again, in dentistry, if you don't listen to the patient, you're just not going to get that connection.
Yes.
So that's core value number one for me. The other one, the big one for me, I won't go through them all necessarily, is trust. Because trust is about doing what you said you're going to do, delivering what you said you're going to do, making promises and sticking to them. But it's also about relationship.
Yes.
We blindly trust people we have a good relationship with until they break that trust.
Yes.
Now, we can break trust in personal relationships very easily. But in business, you can break it easily as well. Because if that relationship, if the other person thinks you're only into that relationship for what you're going to get out of it, the trust is gone. And the one thing that breaks relationships in business is money. Because we don't trust salespeople because we think they're in it for the money. We don't trust the banks because we believe they're in it for the money. I personally don't trust politicians because I think they're only in it for themselves. So that relationship is gone because it's only for them. So my aim is to make sure that our relationship with our customers, my relationship with my staff, with you as a customer, is genuine.
Yes.
And if I say I'm going to do something, then I've got to do it. You know, so I said we've all got core values, and I don't care what they are. But I've also had everybody in the team do this exercise, so we can see where the common ground is.
Yes.
And anybody we now employ doesn't get an interview until they've done this exercise.
Fantastic.
So we can see what their core values are.
Yeah.
Because my view is you hire for attitude, not skills. We can train the skills. If their core values are good, and they come in and they show a great attitude, they're hired.
Yes.
Because we'll teach them everything else.
So,
This is a base part of my training for my team. And on day one here, when I presented to the team who I was, I showed them my core values and the definition of them.
Yes.
And then got them to do the exercise.
That's a fantastic idea. That's a really good idea. I speak with many principals and managers, and I don't know, not all the time, but sometimes, you know, they say to me, we've got the wrong people in. And to be able to do an exercise like this would be a fantastic benefit for them.
I've got lots of customers now. Last week I was in Greece and Cyprus doing a business leadership and management course for dentists in Cyprus.
Right.
And there were some Greek dentists there. And this is one of the things I get them to do on themselves.
Right.
And then say, right, you can have the document. I've had it translated into Greek. I didn't do it.
Right.
Go back and do that with your team, because fundamentally, in my view, the biggest issue and most difficult thing about running a business is people.
Yes.
You can fix systems, you can fix processes, you can fix computers. Fixing people is very difficult.
Yeah.
So if you hire the wrong person in the first place, you know, employment law is so much more on the employee side these days that it's really difficult to terminate that person if you really need to.
Yes.
And they can be so disruptive. And again, in a dental practice, where you're working so closely together, if you've got a disruptor in there, it's not only a problem for you as a leader, it's a real problem for the rest of the staff. So select the right people for the right attitude and then teach them the skills. So it's never perfect, but it's a much better way of doing it. And I've had practices now use this before they interview people.
Yes.
And they've got a much better result in the long run. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a fantastic thing to put in place to make sure you're getting the right person.
Any of your team or any of your clients want this document, I'll happily, it's just a Word document, they can use it as they wish.
Fantastic,
and
thank you very much.
I've got some instructions that go with it. So.
I'm absolutely sure you'll get some uptake on that one
Good.
as well. Yeah, that's great, that's really good.
And if you want to, you know, if anybody wants a short workshop on it, then I'll do it with them, that's not a problem.
Lovely, lovely, we can get that sorted out as well. Perfect.
You can even do it by Skype if you want to. So.
Perfect, excellent. Comfort of your own living room, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you took over Dental Sky as a business, what sort of state was it in, and where have you moved it to now? I mean, I don't mean state. That's very negative.
No, you're right.
What condition was it in?
It was flat.
Okay.
It was flat in terms of its business growth, but it was very flat in terms of its energy.
Right.
And that was due to the previous leadership in the UK.
Yes.
So it needed a change of direction because people here weren't allowed to join in to make decisions. So the first thing I did was open up the opportunity to say, right, you're all involved in this process. So I had to change the energy. So that was step one. Yes, we rebranded it to give it a fresh look because it was dull.
Right.
It was, you know, NHS green and it was a bit dull.
Okay.
And I said it just flatlined. Yeah. And that was the sad thing. So it was working, but it wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
I know business isn't all about huge growth and huge numbers, and we don't want to be, don't plan to be huge, because the bigger you get, the more difficult it becomes to give the personal service. But I know there's the potential here because the knowledge in this place is vast. There's a lot of people who've been here a long time and they know products, they know dentistry, they know customers. I've got a great marketing team, but they were just flat.
Yes.
So I just had to energise it.
Yes.
And I spend more of my time bouncing around the place like Tigger, just getting people to, you know, to think of things. And when they bring me a problem, I say, that's fine, but what are the
Yeah.
two solutions you come up with? Because I have answers, but I don't want to be giving all the answers. So
Yes.
I'm not here enough to do that. I'm part-time and I like to go out and meet customers. So.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's getting there. They really have. We've changed the energy, and I said
Yes.
we've gone from a flatlining business to a business that's growing at an exceptionally above average rate at the minute.
Yeah.
So,
Fantastic.
which is great. So
Fantastic.
good fun.
That's lovely. Yeah, good fun indeed. So, what would you say you enjoyed the most about it?
Having said people are the most difficult, it's the people I enjoy
Enjoy
the
the
most.
most.
So energising people.
Yeah.
We had a management meeting yesterday,
Yes.
and they're talking about the issues in each department, which we've always got, systems, process, and everything else. And my job is just say, okay, so what would you do about it? What do you think is the solution? And they look at me a bit because people in business always look to the leader to come up with the answers because you're the boss. And I try hard not to give them the answer now because ultimately they know the systems better than I do. Don't ask me to go and operate the computer or the customer relationship management system. I've never done it. I don't need to. My job is to get them thinking differently, in my view. And if I can energise them, one, it makes my life easier because I'm not having to make the decisions, and two, if hopefully all I'm doing is them coming to me and saying, right, this is the problem, this is what we think we should do about it, and I'm just going, if you want help, I think you're right, try it. And as I said, get on and do it. If it fails, just own up and don't do it again.
Continuing that point there, I know from my experience, what I actually say to them is, you remember like the old Cutty Sark ship?
Yes.
It's like, you have your captain, you have your first mate, you have your generals, you have everybody there, which you need to be able to run that ship.
Yes.
However, you don't do the steering yourself.
No.
You just stand there,
Yeah.
you've got a navigator, and really the captain role is just to oversee everything.
Absolutely. And just keep people happy. Obviously, there's always issues to deal with, and when it comes to salaries and pay rise and stuff like that, somebody's got to make the decision. Or it comes to difficulties in a business between personnel, or you've got a challenging person that you need to retrain, reprogram, or even terminate, sadly, if you have to. Somebody's got to make that decision. But the business is about the team, and I said I have a team of managers, and my job is to get them to just have the confidence to take the decisions. And I keep saying the same phrase over and over again, which is better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. So go ahead, make the decision. If it fails, just put your hand up and say, look, we tried it, Simon, it didn't work. Fine. Nobody's going to die. That's fine. So let's learn from it and move on. So.
Yes. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And it fits with dental practice really well as well.
It does,
doesn't it?
yeah. And dental practice is very stressful. Very stressful. You're working, as I said, very close quarters with your team. A lot of part-timers, so different team in the afternoon to the morning. And as a business owner of a dental practice, being generally the owner is the dentist, and therefore is the main producer. But they can't be the head of IT, the head of HR, the head of marketing, head of sales, head of finance. They just can't do all that. If they haven't got a team to help them.
That's true. It's very true. Yeah, indeed. So your journey history started in 1981.
It did.
I
was a child.
As a toothbrush salesman. And then obviously now CEO of Dental Sky, and you have the business consultancy going on as well. Just thinking about the dental market, what was your sort of impression of the dental market from what it was to what it is now to where do you think it's going?
Back then, obviously, it was very much a cottage industry, and all the dealers like this were very much, well, if you order it on Monday, you might get it by Friday.
Wow.
There was a big relationship thing going on, but there was no zip in it. And then in the late 80s, we saw Rexident start off, which was actually a guy, Norman Freeman, who's a pharmacist. His dentist complaining that he couldn't get a supply of anaesthetics quickly enough. And he said, well, I can get them because I'm a pharmacist, and I can deliver to you twice a day.
Right.
And then he thought, I wonder what else I can get. So he started delivering directly to a dentist in his area twice a day, like they do for pharmacists. So that was the birth of Rexident, and Shine had started this in the States, came in and bought Rexident. So that, in the late 80s, when Henry Schein Rexident first merged, completely changed the dynamic of the industry, because prices went through the floor, and service went through the roof. So those dealers that were very much in the old ways of, they don't need it till later in the week, or it'll take 3 weeks to get, had a big shake-up. So that was a big evolution in the supply chain for dentistry. Of course, since then, it's almost gone full circle, because Henry Schein and the likes of Henry Schein have got salespeople on the road, which they didn't have initially. So they've realised that actually there's still need for that one-to-one relationship in the field. And all the other the old-fashioned dealers have either been absorbed or have also gone both full service, with reps and online and mail order and that kind of stuff. So there was a big shift back in the late 80s through the early 90s to the late 2000s. Since then, that's sort of plateaued, and what's really happened is obviously a convergence of all those smaller companies who've gone into 3 or 4 big ones. So you've got Wrights, you've got Dental Directory, you've got Henry Schein as the 3 big ones, and they've absorbed all those other smaller companies. So that's been the big change.
Yes.
Then, of course, in the early 2000s, we've had the evolution of the corporate chains, which again has changed the practice side of it.
Yes.
My view is, in the long run, that that supply chain won't change dramatically, I don't think. Obviously, more will go online. Amazon are now coming into the business, so that's going to change that's the next evolution in terms of service levels, I think. We've all got to wake up to that, because Amazon Prime, you can have it tomorrow, you can have it Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's something we've all got to wake up to as suppliers. But I think the more electronic relationship in terms of automatic ordering, automatic processing is going to get better. We believe we've got an excellent website, but of course we're continually fine-tuning it. So I think there's going to be there has to be less people in the field in dentistry. So I think that the dental sales rep in the next 10 or 15 years will phase out.
Yes.
Obviously, if you're buying equipment, you need somebody to come in and measure the room and do all the discussion with you about what you really want. But I think for materials, just purely from a cost point of view, people are going to have to move more online. So, and right now, dentists and their teams don't really like it.
Yeah.
They still like that relationship, but I think just pure costs alone, because prices are coming down, and as I said, with Amazon coming into the market, then we all have to get better at the online.
Yeah, it's going to be a big shake-up.
Yeah, it's going to be a big shake-up. Yeah.
So the sort of dental reps are your current high street
Yes,
stores,
they
and
are.
the high street
Precisely
stores
that.
are now closing. Everybody's going
Precisely
online.
that's a good analogy. Yeah, and I think, as I said, it's a shame, because I'm a relationship person. I like to go and see customers, and there will still be some of that. But I think just pure cost alone says, to continue to give dentists the service they want and the prices they need, you can't pay for all that extra resource. You just can't do it. So that's why I said our plan as Dental Sky is not to have reps on the road, not because they're not great, but they're a big cost, and if we can keep that relationship going through the internet and through the people on the phone, then obviously it means we can keep our prices lower. So.
Yeah, indeed.
Which is important for everybody. So.
Yeah, indeed. That's quite right. You mentioned dental corporate companies.
Yes.
There. So we've got the likes of IDH My Dentist and Oasis Bupa and things. So in my experience, for the last couple of years when I've been monitoring it, and the reason we created the Alliance of Excellence was because these corporate companies are sort of taken over.
Yeah.
You've got the independent practices that are sort of in their bubble, where it's been nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
But if you look at the state of the Republic of Ireland, the corporates have just taken over.
Yes.
So what's your impression of dental corporates?
I don't think they can survive in the long term.
Okay.
I really don't. If I go back, I spent 3 years living in America back in the 90s, and at that time there was a big expansion in corporate dentistry.
Okay.
Since then, it's declined and flattened out.
Right.
The reason for that, I think, as I said, is because ultimately dentistry is a very personal, intimate service.
Yes.
And the problem the corporates have, and will always have, like any business that tries to replicate itself, is that personal relationship.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a single individual practice owner, or maybe a couple of dentists owning a practice, it's our business, it's our team, they're our patients. There's that personal relationship.
Yes.
As soon as you try and replicate that, it can be done, but it's much harder because of the attitude of the people you employ.
Yes.
Now, if you're the business owner and a dentist and you're working in practice A, 8 hours a day with patients, you can't oversee what's happening in practice B like you can in your own practice.
That's true.
So you're relying on the attitude of the people you employ to give that same service, to have those same values. Now, as I said, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's much more difficult. If you then take 650 practices, replicating that service level, that attitude across all of those practices, it's really hard.
Yes.
And I think it's not that the model is wrong, it's just difficult because it's such a people-heavy business, a people-centric business.
Yes.
So my view of the future of dentistry is smaller groups that have much better dynamic control and relationship with each other.
Yeah.
And slightly bigger practices where you've got, a general dentist, a periodontist, an orthodontist, a couple of hygienists, 3 or 4 receptionists, a business manager, because that's the strong model in my view, because you can give that personal, intimate service to your patients, your customers, but also you can share all the cost of running, because a dental practice is heavy cost.
Yeah.
People cost, equipment cost, very heavy compared to a medical practice in particular. So sharing that cost, and perhaps even have a lab on the side of it, or a lab as part of the group, is fundamentally the future model. So I'm not saying groups aren't right, but I think the bigger the group, the more difficult it is to maintain that perfect ethos.
Yes.
And I said, the analogy is you go to Costa Coffee here up the road,
Yes.
or you go to Costa Coffee in Newcastle, you want the same thing, and you probably get the same coffee, but you'll get a completely different attitude from the staff, depending on the person on the till or the person serving the coffee. Now, Whitbread's aim of own Costa is to get everybody saying the same thing and behaving the same.
Yeah.
That's difficult with humans.
Yes. Yeah.
At
Definitely.
service level, I went to a Costa recently at the station here, and the young lady, because I chose an apple out of a basket, she just said, "Would you like me to wash that apple for you, sir, before you take it away?" Now, nobody's trained her to do that. I said, "Yeah, great." Nobody's trained her to do that. That's in her.
Yeah.
Now, I'd hire her tomorrow
Yes.
for my business because she's got that attitude.
Yes.
And that's the challenge with corporate. So they'll always be there,
Yeah.
but I think we'll see them shrink.
Okay.
And in fact, the biggest one in the UK at the minute, in fact, it's the biggest one in the world, is actually shrinking right now because they're struggling to make that
Yes.
dynamic work.
Yeah. I think the only thing they've really got in their favour is the buying power at the moment.
But even
It's
that, you and I both
Yeah.
know that the actual bit you buy from us
Yes.
is only about 8% of your turnover. So
That's
yeah,
true.
when you've got scale, you can save. You know, the numbers are big. You're saving hundreds of £1,000s a year, but in terms of your overall costs, it's actually a very small percentage.
Yes.
So it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But most importantly, if you've got a dentist working for you in a practice in Glasgow who decides not to come in on a Tuesday, that chair being empty is costing the business £300 an hour. So which is more important to business, keeping that dentist working or saving 3 or 4% on the consumables?
Yeah, you're quite right.
It's all important,
Yeah.
but fundamentally, if that dentist says, it's not my business, I won't go in today,
Yes.
I'll go to the beach, it's sunny,
Yes.
you've lost £300 an hour. And that happens in corporates. It doesn't happen in individual practice because it's your practice.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, a dentist will struggle in when it's his practice or her practice
Yes.
because
That's right.
they're the producer. So that's the that's the difficulty I think with corporate dentistry.
Okay.
Will it always be there? Yes. Will it change? I think it has to. So.
Okay. That's very interesting. It's an interesting perspective. It's good to get your take on it, really.
That's my personal view, but I said it's that I've seen it change a lot. But I think that's the underlying problem with corporate dentistry is managing the people and their attitude.
Yes. Yeah.
And as a dentist, as a corporate, if you don't have dentists working, you don't, or hygienists, you don't have your producers.
That's true.
So, and if they're employed, which at some point they're going to have to be employed, I think, for HMRC rules. So.
Yes.
But employees take days off sick.
Yeah, that's true.
Owners generally
Yeah,
don't.
Yeah, definitely. Fine. So, another question I wanted to ask you as well is something, since we've been going with the Alliance,
Yeah.
we've been speaking to these practices and different members coming on board, and I'm always shocked at the amount of practices that don't consider their practice as a business as such. They consider it as they're running a dental practice.
Yes.
and for me, it's a shocker.
Yes.
Do you get the same thing?
I do.
Yeah.
You know, the phrase, you're a business that provides dental services, not
Yes.
a dental practice that is a business.
Yes.
But if you go to dental school for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years and get really... There's no business training. I've been in dentistry 37 years this year and still there's no business education at dental school. Now, a lot of dentists in the last sort of 15 years have gone away and got that business training so they understand it. But I said, you still, as an owner, have to make a decision. Am I going to be the dentist and the producer or am I going to be the business manager?
Yes.
Now, if you're a great clinician and you love clinical dentistry, be the dentist and hire a business manager. If you don't want to be a dentist anymore, be the business manager. That's fine.
Yes.
But you cannot do both properly. But it is a business. You know, let's be honest, even back in the 60s and 70s when the NHS dentistry was, 98% of what we did, and you could open a practice tomorrow and have a contract, even then you were still a business. You weren't employed by the NHS, but you're not given the skills for that. So I said, it's quite simple. Either delegate that to somebody else and employ a professional practice manager, business manager, or become that person and give up the clinical side.
Yeah.
You cannot do both properly. And as I said, I was running a workshop last week for dentists in Greece and Cyprus. Same issues, except they often work on their own at the moment. They don't even have an assistant most of
Oh
them.
wow.
So their biggest challenge to grow their business now is the first thing is going to have to hire somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
And they don't want to do it. So we do the core values exercise, find the right people.
Yes.
But you cannot, as I said, you cannot be the dentist and the head of IT, the head of HR, the head of finance, the head of marketing, the head of sales. Because if you're doing all of that, no wonder you're stressed. Oh, and then we've got CQC and GDC on your back. All that stuff has to be done by somebody.
Yes.
Those are business issues. Now in Dental Sky, I have a team of people that do all that. Sales is sales, marketing is marketing, finance is finance, warehouse and logistics.
Yes.
And I'm just here stirring the pot. I don't produce anything. Now we're not a dental practice,
Yeah.
but I have departments for each of those things.
Yeah.
They're all interdependent. But as I said, your front of house in a dental practice is marketing and sales.
Yes.
You have receptionists. They need training. They need watching, monitoring, guiding, helping.
Yes.
You can't do that if you're in the clinical room. So
No, that's true.
you are a business that provides dental services and not a dental practice that happens to be a business.
Yeah.
You have to think of it the other way around.
Yeah,
So.
indeed.
And that, again, if practice is going to survive, they've got to do that, which is why I say we have to see a merger of practice getting slightly bigger so they can share those costs.
Yes.
Because a good business manager is not going to be inexpensive. So if you've got 4 or 5 good clinicians, that's going to pay for a good business manager, and the model works.
Yeah.
Same as GP practice, they're going for business managers now to run the business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite
Because
right.
they're given their budget by the NHS,
Yes,
but they still have to manage the budget.
Yeah.
So
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Good.
it's a business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Last question then before we get on to the quick fire ones
Yeah.
and get to know you a little bit more. The role of Dental Sky
Yes.
in UK dentistry.
Yes.
You said you don't want to get too big because you don't want to lose the personal
Yeah.
service. But where do you see yourself sitting in the future?
Right now we're a minnow. Yeah, I've
Okay.
got 3 really big competitors, obviously, who are 10 times bigger than we are.
Yes.
So, but our aim is to grow nicely with enough customers that we can continue to give that personal service. Every business has a sustainability level, a tipping point, if you like. So I need a minimum number of staff because, as I said to you on the tour, we have a drugs license, we are governed by the MHRA, we are governed by all sorts of rules and regulations for what we supply because it's medical products. So I have to have a minimum number of staff. That has a basic cost, so I've got to have a certain number of sales to cover those costs.
Yes.
Now we're just getting there now. So I think if we were able to double the business now in the next 3 or 4 years,
Yes.
we've got a very nice sustainable model that will enable us to continue to give the personal service to every practice. We're never going to deal with everybody.
Yeah.
Of course not. That's just not sensible to think that.
Yes.
And I'd rather have a smaller number of clients that like us for what we do and are prepared to pay us the right sort of prices for our products so we can continue to do that service than just trying to be big.
Yes.
Big is not beautiful in my view. And if I look at big companies generally, unless you're selling to everybody on the planet like Apple or Google or whatever it might be, you lose the personal touch as soon as you try and get too big.
Yes.
So if I now try and open a branch, when I started back in the 80s, all the dental dealers had branches in every big city.
Right.
So they had, Glasgow, Manchester, Dundee, Edinburgh, Bristol, Birmingham. They've all gone.
Right.
So now the individual field rep is the branch, if you like.
Yes.
But even that, as I said, is not sustainable in the long run. So I want a sustainable business that is great fun to work in and
Yes.
the customers enjoy doing business with. So
Okay. Lovely. Thank you very
that's
much.
the aim. So
Excellent.
because it's the way the practice is.
Yeah.
I've helped write a book recently
Oh, yes.
for charity called The Dentist Survival Guide.
Okay.
My chapter is how to survive outside the NHS, but
Right.
these are free, by the way, for
Oh,
your colleagues, if
brilliant.
you like. So I've got
Brilliant.
some there for you.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll throw a link on the
Yeah, of course you
website.
can, yeah.
And,
And that's it's one chapter in there, but that's gives you some of my philosophy of
Yes.
the way I think dental practice needs to go. And I love dental practice, and I
Yes.
love working with dentists to train them to be better business people.
Yeah.
I have great fun doing. I'm going back to Greece and Cyprus in the next couple of weeks to do a 2-day workshop on that basis,
Yeah.
and we have laughter, tears, because dentistry's hard.
Yeah. It is. It is very
The
true.
first question I ask them is, why did you become a dentist? And often they sit there and go, yeah, why did I become a dentist? But then we work through it and say,
Yeah.
okay, well, there was a reason for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And most of it's about care.
Yeah.
You know? I'm an artist, I'm an engineer, I care about people. Well, dentistry is good for that.
Yes.
But they forget that because of all the stresses of running a business.
That's true. That's
They
true.
forget it. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
getting back to that and saying, right, hand all the other stuff over to somebody else,
Yes.
a professional business manager.
Yeah, let them do it, and then you can
Yeah.
crack on with the clinical.
With the clinical stuff. If that's your bag, if it's
Yeah.
not, switch.
Yeah, it makes perfect
And
sense.
plenty of dentists have given up the clinical side to become business people. That's okay too.
Yes.
No problem.
Yeah, quite right.
But then you get to the big corporates, then they struggle with the whole,
Yeah.
keeping that personal brand together. I think that's the only struggle.
Yes.
Be interested to watch Bupa because they're a non-profit making organisation globally, and they've
Yes.
got obviously big money from their
Yes.
healthcare insurances. So it'd be interesting to see how they evolve their practices now. So
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing.
It is, yeah.
It really is. Fine. So, quick fire questions.
Yes.
Simon. 2 things you enjoy the most.
cycling.
Okay.
Can I say drinking? No, you're not. Sorry.
Oh, let me get on the website. You said you enjoy a beer.
I really enjoy it. I love
Yeah.
Relail. I
Okay.
love cycling. So
Yes.
the advantage of cycling, it means I can eat and drink more because I burn it off. So and just for your readers or listeners, Me and 4 other guys in the industry are doing Land's End to John O'Groats in September to raise money for cancer research, Bridge to Aid, and Brush Up UK, which is a dental charity. So there's 5, me, Chris Barrow, Ashley Latter, Sheila Scott, and Les Jones are doing Land's End to John O'Groats.
Fantastic.
So we've got a webpage, 5 Go Forth.
Fine.
And there's a Virgin Money giving page if anybody wants to donate. So we're trying to raise £50,000, which will be split between the 3 charities.
Perfect. So if we can get the links, we'll throw them on underneath the video as well, so everybody can donate.
Are you coming to the show next week?
No, I'm not.
Right.
No.
We've got a press launch there.
Okay.
So cycling's my thing, and eating and drinking. So the 2 go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Yeah, you get to keep
cycle more, you can eat more.
Indeed. 2 things that stress you out.
People, managing people.
Okay. Yeah.
And what really, I think trying to balance family and work is always a stressful thing.
Yes.
I love what I do, and I do spend a lot of time at work, and I've travelled a lot, so I'm away from home a lot. That's a stress for me and for my family. So my biggest stress with travel is getting through airport security. So I don't lose my temper very often, but I really can't deal with people who can't go through security properly. So I'm generally a very calm person.
Beep, beep, and then they keep coming back. Yeah.
People who don't know how to travel. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Very polite. Very polite. I'll skip the next one because we spoke about Dental Sky.
Yeah.
You told us where you want to go. So 2 things you want to achieve personally.
Personally, I want to do Land's End to John O'Groats successfully.
Yep.
Last year I did Paris to Berlin with my son.
Brilliant.
So that's the next tick in the box. I want to be able to walk away from Dental Sky. I'm 57 this year, so I've said I'll work here till I'm 60.
Okay.
They may keep me longer, but to walk away from here with a sustainable business.
Yes.
That's running itself, that
Yes.
keeps happy customers, and is, as I said, is financially stable and sustainable. So.
Good. Very nice. 2 things you'll change right now if you could. Anything.
If I could change anything now, I'd have been better at school.
Okay.
Because I was a terrible student, and I came out of school with no qualifications. I did then go into Rolls-Royce and get an engineering apprenticipip, so I did get qualified eventually, but I would have been better at school.
Yes.
I'd be taller. I'm only 5'7". I'd like to be taller. So.
I have the same thing. My girlfriend tells me she'd constantly like me to be taller. I'm 5'10", but she's...
Well, I've got a colleague who was with me yesterday who's 6'2", and I've got a stiff neck from yesterday from talking to him. So yeah, I'd like to be taller.
Indeed. Do you have a morning routine?
I generally go out cycling. I actually I don't live in Ashford where Dental Sky is. I have a flat in town, and I don't bring the car. I come by train. I cycle. I've got a folding bike.
Okay.
Flat. I cycle from. So that's my exercise. So my morning routine is wake up, a cup of tea or coffee.
Yes.
Out on the bike for an hour if I can.
Yes.
Obviously here I cycle to work, so that's my exercise. And my cycling time is my thinking time. If I have a problem with the business, I know if I go out for an hour's bike ride, I can generally, if it not got the solution necessarily, but calm down about it and come up with a way to then start, sorting it out. So that's my thinking time. So fresh air. I used to be a member of a gym, but I'd much rather be out in the fresh air. And I live by the sea now, so that's great. So
that's lovely.
I can go and cycle on the beachfront to get a lungful of sea air and think.
Yes.
So.
Good. Very nice. And last question then for you. What's your key to success?
Key to success? Keeping going, I think.
Yeah.
Keeping cheerful. Business can drag you down, it really can be, and travel can drag you down. You've got to keep positive.
Yes.
I drive my colleagues nuts because I'm just forever bouncing around the place like Tigger.
Yes.
But and I come in here having been away for a week with a whole raft of ideas, 90% of which are useless. And I know when I walk in the door, they go, "Oh my God, he's in again." But that's me. I'm the energy. Yeah?
Yes.
I'm the Duracell bunny of the place, and that's my job as far as I see it. Because people will get depressed, they will get down. Their day-to-day routine might drag them down, or they're fed up with their colleague not doing the job. My job is to prevent conflict, deal with conflict when it happens, but most of all keep the energy going. So, and that's my principal role here, as I see, as the energizer Duracell bunny of the business. So.
Duracell bunny.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. I might capture.
Maybe that's not an image you want to go away with, but I used to be one of my past jobs with one of the big companies, Curb. We travel a lot as a group, and they'd always say, "For goodness' sake, don't let Simon sleep on the bus because when he wakes up, he'll be like double Duracells again. So don't let him have any break." But that's me. I like to be the poker and the prodder and come up with all the crazy ideas, and I do drive them nuts, but they're glad when I leave.
But in the 10% of ideas that you bring back, genuinely
something happens. Yeah. And I said I don't care that 90% of ideas are useless.
Yes.
The fact is, some of them will get evolved and developed. I'm trying to encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah.
There's no stupid idea. Give it a go.
That's true.
Or evolve it. Just out of daft ideas come good ideas. So.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's a
Absolute pleasure.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to have you here.
Thank you, Simon.
So yes, you can take 3 of those away if you want.
Perfect. Oh yeah, if you don't mind. Yes.
Steve Hudson's a dentist, wrote it.